Morning. This is Siva Devaki from MassMailer. Today I'm actually going to talk about a very important feature, a very desirable feature, that is CC or BCC options. So let's take a look at various features that we have related to CC, BCC, and how do they work. So there are a few things that you could do with this feature. So the foremost important thing is setting the default values. Many times you would want to just do auto BCC kind of a thing, and you want to set the default, or maybe you want to enable the CC or BCC feature by default. So what is that you could do to set the default values for this feature? So that's one topic that I'm going to talk about and also demonstrate. So if you are familiar with MassMailer, there is a difference in the way you send emails to campaign members versus any other object, such as single object. What I mean, whether it is leader, a contact, or a custom object. So how does the CC really work in case of campaign member versus the other objects? And how do you really auto BCC an email? This is important when it comes to compliance purposes. Maybe you want to archive your email data, and then you need to auto BCC a specific email address that gets forwarded to that BCC email, which gets stored in the archival system. So whether it is a compliance purpose or any other reason, how do you actually auto BCC an email to that topic? And also, if you actually want to just ignore the defaults, and if you just want to select something at runtime, meaning at the time of sending email, if you want to select the CC, BCC option, what are things that you could do and how do you do that? And then how does the CC, BCC work in case of alerts in the process builder or flow? Again, if you're familiar with the process builder integration with MassMailer, you can send email alerts, drip campaigns using the process builder or flow, in which you can mention the recipient email address. At the same time, there's an option to do CC or BCC. So we can take a look at what is that field, and what do you need to do in order to get it working. We also have similar feature in the developer API. I could touch on that if I have enough time. But again, I think it's very simple enough to kind of understand how does it really work in the developer API. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at a quick demo here. So I have MassMailer already loaded here, and I'm in this MassMailer setup. And then when you go to MassMailer setup, you would see various options. So we are looking at the email settings, and then we're going to look at the sender settings. And here you can see there is a section that says common CC BCC list. So many people wonder, hey, I'm in the outreach wizard, but I don't find a way to really select a CC or BCC. So this is the trick. So you will have to come to MassMailer setup and then go to the email settings under sender settings. So this is the option where you actually can enter a BCC email address. So for example, I'm gonna go enter an email address here and then just save. So this is the option that shows when you actually go to the outreach wizard. So I'm gonna kind of go hand in hand here so you can see exactly what I mean. Let's just go select any list view there, and I'm just gonna go to the next step. And so without wasting much time, I'm just gonna send my email for CC BCC. Just gonna just type in. So now here you can see the CC and the BCC. So if you look at this, the email address that I just entered showed up here. So same time, if you go to the BCC email, it'll have that email address that I just entered. So basically the list that you see here, it is coming from the list that you enter in the setup screen. And also, if you notice, the default BCC sender is set to active. And if you actually see here on this, the BCC sender is also was actually selected by default. I mean, in fact, I've selected this to show you how the BCC works. But the BCC sender is auto-selected. And by default, we also select the BCC once because it's mandatory, right? So the default, again, going back to the setup, what is that you could do here? So you could basically enter the CC BCC list of emails. So if you want to add more, you just have to enter an email address. If you want to delete anything, you just have to click on that and then delete, and it's gone. But if you want to refresh this, you will have to start from the beginning because this is still in the cache, so it would still show the amounts of this thing. But if you refresh this, meaning if you start from the beginning, then it will not show that list of values there. Okay. And the same thing here, if you actually want to do default BCC, a specific email address, you can do that. So for example, if you just want to do maybe one, so what you've done is BCC sender is defaulted, and also BCC email, a specific email address, and then we are saying BCC once, right? And let's get started again from the outreach wizard here. So you kind of can understand how these settings really work. Not complicated at all. It's just that you needed to know the specific feature. How does it really work? So let's just go again here and just say demo BCC feature. Okay. As you can see, the BCC sender is selected, BCC email to hello@massmailer.io is also selected, and BCC1. So this is how the BCC settings really work and show up here in this section. Okay. And then now, if you notice this, we have the CC options here. Again, we don't have the default CC. No customers ask for this because typically CC is not like something which is static. Most likely, that's the reason why we never implemented that. But if at all anyone asks for it, and we're happy to kind of have the CC default values as well. So talking about this, there are two ways you can CC. So you can actually CC a specific email address. Like if you want to CC an email address, you can select that. Or you could actually CC the alternate email address that you have. So since I've selected contact object, I have 4 more email fields on the contact, and those are the ones that are shown here. So let's say if I just select the CC email, provided there is a value in CC email, it would actually send a copy to the CC email, and it is going to send a copy to this siva@massmail.io, and it's going to BCC the sender, whoever is the sender, and it's going to BCC this hello@massmail.io. So that's kind of a granular way to look at. I think it's kind of self-explanatory, but I think this is going to be a good refresher for anyone who wants to kind of understand how this thing really works, right? And as you notice, this is saying contact. If I actually selected a different object, it would have said that object name, and then provided there is an alternate email field on a particular object, this will have that list. If there's no alternate email field other than the default one that you have set up, it is not going to show that list here. So that's the kind of you know key thing that you need to understand. So that's about um, the yeah, how to kind of set the defaults, how to do the auto BCC, and how to enter the CC BCC at runtime. So we kind of covered this. And then so we're going to look at the campaign member and the process builder as well. So if you ever wanted to actually, one more thing I want to talk about here. Let's say you don't want to do the CC a specific email address that's already in the list. If you want to kind of enter that email address manually, that's fine. So you just have to, enter that here. So for example, we want to do that, that's fine. And let's say you want to add more, that's okay, just keep going, the comma separated values. I think there's a limit, but I think most likely you wouldn't be really hitting that limit as such. So this is how you can do the comma separated values. And at the same time here, if you ever wanted to do BCC email address, so you would do the exact same thing. So you just manually enter whatever email address that you're actually going to do a BCC. So that's kind of a, another approach. If you did not want to set up the defaults, that's okay. At runtime, you can always enter the specific email address. So that's kind of a cool feature that we have. And then how does this really work in campaign member? So it's again, so just remember that this is the contact object that's in the context. I'm happy to kind of show you how this works in case of lead. So you can see that the fields will change change there. So let's see.
Hey,
Okay.
Siva.
Yeah.
Siva, this is Vadim, lender with SureScripts. I apologize for joining
Uh-huh.
late. I was just wondering if Lisa's had a chance to kind of describe our use case to you and to see. I just want to make sure that we spend the time kind of your time wisely based on what our use case is. Does that make sense?
So this is a webinar, so why don't we just go through what I have for the topic today, and I'm
Oh, okay.
happy to clarify any questions that you have, yeah?
Perfect. That sounds great.
All right, sure, thank you. So I was just demonstrating for the lead object, so I selected in the target audience, if you notice, so I selected the lead object, and then let's show you that it may have a different, so test CC for the lead object. So, an example. Okay. So as you can see now, the list has changed because this is the CC email for lead. And if you have an alternate email field on the lead object, it would show the whatever additional email fields, provided those are email type. It should not be a text field, as you know. So the standard field is email. That's the name of the field name on the lead. So we do have another alternate email field called email too. That's why it's showing for the lead. And if you have a custom object, it's going to show that for the custom object as well. Okay. Now let's take a look at the campaign. So I'm actually going to go through the campaign flow now. And again, I'm not going to get into the full-blown details of how to create campaign and what all features we have, but assuming that you are already familiar with MassMailer campaign feature, so I will just go quickly create a MassMailer campaign, and I'm going to add some campaign members here. So if you notice, I'm actually just adding some contacts and leads. I hope I have some leads. If not, I'm actually going to take a look at what do we have there, our campaign members. So just close this and go to the Salesforce campaign list view. Okay. Oh, okay. So I have 2,000 campaign members. That's okay. So let's just keep going. I would just go to send via MassMailer. Okay, so seems like I have added a huge list of leads. So it's taking time. Okay, never mind. I'm actually just going to go create a brand new campaign. So I would just call this as campaign CC demo. Let's save this. I'm going to set this as MassMailer campaign. Okay. Let's just go pick some contacts and leads manually here. That's easy. So let's just say we select this contact, add new status, and then maybe another lead. Okay, so we just have one contact and one lead. I think that's ideal. So now if I take you to the MassMailer outreach wizard here from campaign, and then let's just go to sender options. I would just enter some dummy subject here, demo campaign, CC options. Okay, now you can see that we are showing the fields from the lead as well as contacts. So if you ever wanted to say, hey, I actually want to pick up my email to field from the lead, and then I want to pick up email to field from contact. So based on whatever is the record type for that particular campaign member, so the campaign member could be whether it could be a lead or a contact, as you know. So based on whatever you're selecting here, which email field you want to copy for the lead and which email field you want to copy for the contact. And from this settings, we're going to copy the respective email field. And rest of the options are still the same. So you have ability to enter a specific email address if you wanted to, or you can select a specific email address that's already set up in the settings under MassMailer setup and email settings. And the BCC options are the same. So basically, this is kind of a change when it comes to campaign because there are two objects in the context of campaign, that is lead and contact. So that's kind of a small explanation about the campaign, how it works. And now let's take a look at the process builder. Again, it is not that complicated if you are familiar with process builder integration. I'm just going to go select any random alert that I would have created earlier. And again, not getting into more details, so assume that you're actually sending an alert. It could be a part of a drip campaign, or it could be just a single transactional email that you're sending. So this is how you define the process builder, where you are sending an email via MassMailer, you have all the fields that are basic fields that you can see from here. What is the from, name from name, from address, to name to address. And similarly, if you actually want to do CC or BCC, you have an option. So the CC could be comma separated values, and then the BCC is also a comma separated value. It can also come from a field reference, so meaning if you have like a field, the email field that you want to select, for example, you want to do email, you want to select email to for CC, that's fine. Say for example, for BCC, you just want to like enter an email address, that's fine. It could be comma separated values as well. Just to demonstrate. So this is just a simple string. As long as it's a well-formatted email address and a comma separated values, we'll pick it up. And at the same time, you have an option to do a field reference. If you ever wanted to do BCC, provided you have an email field, you could just pick up that particular email field as a BCC. And the same thing for CC, you have an option to do like a string. So it's kind of flexible in that matter. So, and there are other options such as formula field. I mean, if you're techie savvy and if you really needed to use some advanced options there, you have all the options that are supported here, whether it is a string, field reference, global constant, or a formula. So that's how the CC and BCC work in the process builder. And if you are interested, we also have the additional tool that's, there would be two fields. Again, this was not planned for this webinar. I just wanted to kind of show it to you because it's kind of related to the same thing. So if you needed to send it to one person, so that is two, right? But if you needed to kind of send it to multiple people, you consider that as additional two. That's okay. You just have to kind of add those values, the additional two and the additional to address and the name. So we'll pick it up. And again, we do support, I think it's ideal to do the comma separated values for the additional two names and addresses. But again, it's up to you how you want to bring in, whether it's a formula field or a reference field. It's all fine. And finally, I think it's important to touch the developer API. Again, just want to show you where you're going to pass that options, the BCC and CC. So if you ever needed to extend MassMailer using the developer API, you have an option to do CC and BCC right here. So you just have to enter the values right there. You can, your dev team can kind of, take this JSON structure and they can kind of strip off the logic, whatever they want to do, and then add the CC and BCC field values dynamically from the records that they fetch from Salesforce, and then just add the comma separated values. So it's very simple. Just have to add the CC and BCC, and that should do it. This is in case of a developer API. So I think I pretty much got everything covered today. Any questions that I can answer? Feel free to type in the chat window or you can speak up, either way.
Hey, Steve, this is Vadim again with SureScripts. So the specific use case that we have, and then may work with the process builder you just showed, but we have a case type called a compliance case, and when we send an email out from that case, like we have to give the customer like specific examples of their errors or whatever that might be. We also, on that account, we also have a number of contacts that have a checkbox called compliance contact. So we want to take that email and send it to all the contacts that mark that criteria to, that same email to go automatically go out to all the contacts within that account that are marked as compliant contacts. Does that sound like something your system could do?
You mean this email need to be triggered whenever the case status gets changed? Is that what you're referring to?
Not necessarily. So imagine we have an account, an ABC company, and there's 20 contacts under that account.
Yeah.
And 4 of those contacts are marked as compliance contacts.
Yeah.
So as a compliance analyst, I go to my case. I want to send an email to that company, my compliance email, and I want that email to automatically be copied to the 4 compliance contacts, or how many compliance contacts under that account.
Okay. Okay. So your the relationship between the case and account is kind of lookup. I'm assuming account is a lookup on the case object.
Yeah.
And then you want the ability to send emails to all the contacts related to that particular. Okay. So let me think.
So we
but
don't
the
want to
context
manually
is
look them up. We want the system to look them up and populate the to field.
right. Okay. Did you want to send it from the case object, or do you? I mean, is it going to be a mass email, meaning you're going to filter bunch of cases and then send email to the respective case contacts, or is it going to be one case at a time?
Yeah, Lisa, can you chime in on that? I believe it's one case at a time, although there are other use cases as well that might affect multiple cases.
Yeah, it would almost certainly be one case at a time, for a lot of reasons. It's possible that there could be a way that we were sending out many emails at one time, but I think the most likely scenario is we would be opening a case, going to send an email through that case, and then wanting to pull in all of those compliance contacts into the email without copying and pasting.
Yeah, because if you can imagine the error log, the error message we're sending to that customer is specific to them, right?
Sure. And may I know if those case contacts are related list by any chance? Meaning, do you store those case contacts as a related list to the case object, or is it through the account?
No, just through the account. They're not on the case team or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Okay. I mean, I have to maybe schedule a call with you just to go through this. I'm going to say that it's possible to do it with a flow because we are coming up with a feature through which you can actually send email to related objects. That's in the beta version. If you're, if you want to test it out, I'm happy to kind of help you out with that process as well. So if you define a flow, you trigger that flow by clicking on a specific button on the case object, you should be able to achieve what you're looking for. But we can actually just do a quick POC for you. I mean, meaning like we'll test this out internally before I come back to you. And then we can certainly schedule a call and demonstrate if we think it is something that can be achieved.
Yeah, I think that'd be wonderful if we could do that. I really appreciate that. I guess the other way to do something like that would be for every compliance case that's open for an account to automatically populate the case team members with those compliance contacts and just send an email to the case team. So a couple. Yeah.
Right. I was going to say that if there is any way you can automate the process where you store them as case contacts, that's kind of given, that works for sure, because we are supporting the related object feature in the upcoming release. That's in a beta version right now. So if you can automate that process, bringing in the case, the compliance contacts onto the case as a case contact, a related list, that's doable upfront. But again, If that is not the case, or if you're not able to bring that, or if you do not want to bring them as case contacts, the alternate approach is to go through the flow. But again, I'm actually gonna kind of do a quick POC internally, and then I'll make sure that it works before I come back to you. Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. I appreciate you willing to do that and partner for us.
Yeah. And if you don't mind sending an email to me, so I'll show you my contact information here. So I will make sure that I follow up with you after this.